we as humans live on this spacecraft which has a single point of failure, and if we were to get hit by an asteroid, the whole humanity will get destroyed, just like dinosaurs did. So my goal is to really someday make humanity a multiplanetary society where we can live on the moon and the Mars and beyond. And the first step really is to live on our nearby continent, eighth continent, and if we can learn to live on the moon, we can obviously expand that to future planets. And its short-term goal is to really able to explore the moon, both for scientific purposes and also from the entrepreneurial perspective. As many people have estimated, there is 16 quadrillion worth of resources on the moon, with the platinum-grade materials, rare earth elements, and most importantly, the helium-3 and the water. Helium-3 is the best clean energy fuel that could power this planet for generations to come, and water really is the oil for the space economy that someday could be used both for the rocket fuel and also for the fuel for humans.
So I'm intrigued, when you've been out there raising funds, you've had Peter Thiel's Founders Fund, for example, joining the band. What's the reward? How do you make money? Is it from these materials that you bring back and you can then sell, or is it getting other human beings to the moon?
Well, if you think about it, if I could rephrase John F. Kennedy, it will go something like, we chose to go to the moon not because it's easy, because it's a great business. And what makes it a great business is really the natural resources on the moon, but most importantly, to use the resources on the moon to really create the habitat on the moon and really to be able to live on the moon. So it's not simply a tourism, it's really is to save humanity from some potential disaster. And even if you want to live on the Mars, the best training place really is the moon, because the problems are very similar.
Are you going to have to raise more funds, or with the amounts, the resources you bring back from the moon, will that fuel be able to sustain the growth of the business and be able to bring in profits to then bring the living about on the moon?
Yes, I think that, that we are fully funded to be able to do our first, second, and third mission. And what it really means is that essentially accelerates what we want to do. But to us, landing on the moon is really not just about us. It is really about showing that what a small group and the entrepreneurs are capable of doing. So when we land on the moon, not only we become the first company to ever do so, we become the fourth superpower. And what that really means is that someday the entrepreneurs are going to be the superpowers, not the nation states. That means that some of the biggest problem facing humanity is going to be solved by entrepreneurs, whether that happens to be Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Moon Express.
If you're saying you're going to be a superpower, usually that is given to those who are in some way elected, and you're just going to have that power in and of yourself through creativity.
Well, idea is that, the people among themselves start to become accountable, and we all know that just because someone is elected doesn't mean they really deserve to have a superpower, and I'm not saying a word after that.
Give us a sense of your past, because I'm fascinated. You, of course, grew with the dot-com boom. You had some companies that exploded like supernovas, if we're going to stick with the space theme, and then did lose their value. How do you promise the returns to your investors? How do we know that Moon Express will remain a good investment?
Well, the idea is that in the dot-com boom, it didn't matter what company you invested in. Obviously, you can't control the stock price. So whether you invested in Yahoo, or whether you invested in VeriSign, or you invested in almost any company, all the company lost value. So I think it's very cyclical. So to some extent, you can't control the stock price, but what really you can do is to build great companies. And my personal belief is when you build great companies, great things happen to you. When you build poor companies, the poor things happen to you. So my goal is to continue to inspire entrepreneurs to do great things and continue to be inspired to do great things, whether it is really making the humanity a multiplanetary society or really creating a healthcare system that can keep everyone healthy for as long as they live.
So sticking with Moon Express, that business that you are now fueling and leading, how big will it become if you do indeed get to land on the moon in 2017? Will this become one of the biggest companies in the world?
Well, the way to look at really is that what is it that we fight over land? On the land, we fight over land, the water, and energy. And all we have to do is look up, and you will see the abundance of land, the abundance of water, and abundance of energy. So really everything that we value on planet Earth is in abundance in space. And there is no doubt that someone is going to create a tremendous amount of opportunity and wealth really in a space economy. So space economy is going to be one of the biggest economy, and the company that's leading it will always be essentially be able to create amazing large enterprise by doing good and doing well.